So you're right. Hi.
You want to come?
Do you want to come say hi? Come.
Guest feature.
There's the camera.
There's the camera.
This is Reid. I love it. There's our intro.
So good.
Hello.
Hi.
Welcome back to another episode of Sometimes Ciabatta Slaps.
I'm Mak.
And I'm Jubes.
And we are talking about quiet quitting today.
Yeah.
Which is a very, very exciting topic and very, very relevant to everything.
Our lives right now.
Yeah.
And even, it's such a popular trend on the internet right now as well.
Well, because I think everyone's been feeling this like phenomenon for like a while.
Yeah.
But there's no word to it. And so now that there's like a actual description, feasible thing.
Yeah, someone was like, this is what it's called when you don't want to go above and beyond to your job.
Exactly. But first we're going to start with the check-in intro. How's it going? How you doing? How you feeling?
So
Not good.
well, I'd like to start off and give myself and my mom a huge congratulations because we went on a big hike and it was so good. And normally we have to stop for a breath every 300 meters elevation gain, but we didn't stop until 100 meters elevation.
30?
Yeah, 30 not
meters.
300. Okay, that ruins the story. But yeah, normally we stop every 30 meters elevation and we only needed to stop at 100 this time. And it was like an intense hike. The first 4 of the 6 kilometers are straight up.
Which hike did you? Which one were you
Helen
at?
Lake.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Yeah, I did it once with a friend and we didn't make it quite to the lake. Mm-hmm. And so mom's like, well, let's go to the lake.
Yeah.
And so it was really awesome because
Fun.
Yeah, we were finally able to do that. But on the hike, we made some like dehydrated like chicken teriyaki rice stuff. But we were too hungry to wait for the rice to like cook all the way, so I was eating crunchy rice and then all of a sudden one of my teeth was like really pointy and I was like, that's weird. So then I picked it and my filling came out. So then I had to go to the dentist today.
Fun.
Yeah, but they just froze me up and my freezing's out now it just hurts. So that's where I'm at, but I can smile. It's even now. See, it was not even before.
At the YouTube, at anyone on YouTube,
Yeah.
at anyone for audio, just picture.
I keep forgetting.
Just picture it.
But yeah, how's your day?
My day?
Your week? How are you?
We don't talk about my day.
Okay.
It was all sorts of things, and I have a lot of. It really fueled this conversation for me.
Yeah.
I was so drained. I'm like, no, I'm like being fired up by cortisol and pissed off frustration. That's kind of what's keeping me going right now because I've had a very, very long few days, but all good.
Your
all good now.
7-day streak of work.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Grody.
You know, it happens. It's fine. It's great.
Yeah, it leads us into our topic really well.
Mm-hmm. But I had a really kind of fun little like win moment last night at yoga.
Yeah.
Intentionally didn't tell you. Jubes and I need to stop talking so that like when it comes to recording, we actually have something to talk about because we stall. We're like, what did my week look like? Because I already ranted about everything I needed to rant about.
We saw each other this morning and we were like, blah, 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 blah. And we're like, oh, okay.
Yeah. But no, so like last night at yoga, we were doing a plow pose and whatnot.
A plow pose?
Yeah, for those of you don't know what plow pose is, it's basically like you're on your back and your like butt's in the air and your legs are straight over your head. So you're like your legs are.
So it's like a forward fold, but you're on your back.
But upside down, yeah.
Okay, understood.
Yeah. So an upside down forward fold, and I haven't done one of those in so long.
Yeah.
Since I lived in like Finland, it was pretty much, and I did Ashtanga yoga regularly, like in Finland.
Yeah.
Besides the fact, so we did plow all the time there.
Yeah.
Did it for the first time last night, and I was like, wow, this actually feels really good.
Nice.
My back has been really tight and everything, and my neck was tight, and I could still feel that kind of tugging sensation, like from all the muscles in my body just being stretched backwards in a way I haven't felt.
Yeah.
But I didn't feel as like suffocated in myself.
Nice.
Anyone who's done it, you might know the feeling.
I feel like I just kind of
feel claustrophobic, like when you're surrounding yourself with your own body.
Yeah.
And for last night, I was like, I felt a lot of gratitude. And it was very like a weird, like lightening, like kind of feeling. So
that's awesome.
Yeah. There's not much words for it. It was more like, I don't know, it's a very spiritual thing, I guess, in a way. It's kind of like, there's no words to describe it for anyone else until you kind of have that moment.
Right.
But it was just kind of like, oh, my like efforts are paying off, kind of
yay
gratitude thing. So
that's so awesome.
Felt really good. Left there feeling really, really fresh, and it's starting to get dark again in Canada. But I'm not mad about it for like post yoga. Like post yin yoga, you want it to be dark. You want to be driving home and like have your eyes like half asleep. Don't sleep and drive, but
but you want to
be ready
like
for
keep
bed.
that state of relaxation instead of coming out and it's still plus 30 and you're like, wow, it's bright out.
Yeah, that's when I had to struggle. It's like, after coming out of that, and then I'm like, whoa, my day's starting all over again. But no, so that was fun. I felt really, really fresh about that last night. It was really good. And then today happened. We don't talk about today. We're not. Today was like everything that could have gone wrong went wrong.
Yeah.
Starting with sleeping in for my workout. And then coming home, my dog had a little bit of an upset stomach last night, and so there was Jackson vomit everywhere.
No, poor Jackson.
My mom had to deal with that one though. I was like,
okay,
I was like, you found it first. You deal with it.
Yeah, that's you.
But no, and then
well, that's good.
But anyways, we're gonna.
I guess that's not good.
Not good. Not good.
Not good. Not ideal. Not what we want.
Not preferred.
No, I was messaging Michaela today and I was like, yeah, like, how's your day going? She's like, I'm a ball of hate. And I was like, so recording tonight, should we just do a rant session? Or like, is this just going to be an hour and a half of Michaela
fueled by my
yelling
fury
about
right
our
now.
job? So, quiet quitting. It's a new term. It's kind of taken the internet by force and the TikTok sphere.
Really interesting topic because, like, again, I feel like it's been so kind of looming, so to speak. I know a lot of people who have expressed these ideas and these feelings and whatnot around the current system.
Yeah, definitely.
But now that there's like a definition, it's like, okay, let's talk about it.
This actually makes sense.
Let's label it. Let's talk about it.
Create a conversation around it. Because I feel like it's something that's been happening for a really long time but no one has had a word for it.
Yeah.
And they're like, it's not something that
it's been
everyone feels happens.
Yeah, definitely a slow transition that has been like expedited by recent events.
Yes.
All right. Give us the definition, Jern.
So it's basically just you're not outright quitting your job, but you're quitting the idea of going above and beyond. So you're still doing your duties, but you're no longer subscribing to the hustle culture mentality that work has to be your life. Mm-hmm. So it's like saying no to projects that aren't part of your job description, leaving work on time, that's a huge one, refusing to answer emails or Slack messages outside of your working hours. It's literally just a mindset shift of my day ends when I leave where I work. Mm-hmm. Or with the work from home, it's my day ends at 5. I close my computer, I don't pick it up or open it until my start time the next day.
And pros and cons. Let's list a few of the concept.
I think it can create like a healthy work-life balance. Yeah. Which is definitely needed. Mm-hmm. But I find that it's tricky to leave work on time, especially in the hospitality industry where we are, where our schedule might say we're done at 5:30, but depending on what gets done that day, dishes might take us till 6:30, or I've been there till 7:30. Like, you don't really know. And waitresses, when I was applying for a job to be a waitress, I was like, okay, so when am I done? And they're like, when you're done. Yeah. We can't give you a set time that you leave. You start at this time, and when you end is when you're done.
Yeah. And that's hospitality, I think, and just overall. Yeah. Which is like, I currently don't have any advice on how this concept can relate to or to apply to that. Mm-hmm. Other than like the outside of work hours, you're not talking about work or kind of thing, right?
Yeah. Well, I kind of found like with school, when it was online, it was very different because there was no like end time for it. So there wasn't like that shift of like, okay, my class is done, put on your backpack, walk home. And so I kind of had to find that, like, no, I'm done school now. I have to be done now so that I can still have a life outside of school, which is where I really noticed it. And then I was really excited, ironically, for this job where I was like, no, I only have to think about work at work. I'm not bringing it home with me. I don't have to. And I'm like, looking at the schedule at 10 o'clock on a Friday night to be like, oh, yeah, that doesn't work.
Oh, no.
But.
And then so with this, we all know there's a lot of slack on millennials, right? And even though we aren't technically classified as millennials, we're like a year off, like we're really close to it.
Yeah.
Of millennials being lazy.
Yeah.
So unsubscribing to the hustle culture, is that promoting laziness, or is that just something that we need to do for mental clarity and sanity? And why hasn't this been prioritized before?
Yeah, I think it's less so that we're promoting laziness. I was listening to a podcast where they're like, I don't believe that lazy is a thing.
I love that.
And I was like, amen. Like,
I mean, as someone who also self-proclaimed lazy girl, but
again, like people with depression who are like, I'm not lazy, I just can't do this. I don't have the mental energy. Like, I can't get out of bed. Stop calling me lazy. I would love to if I could. I just can't.
Burnout is a major thing.
Major. And so definitely burnout affects quiet quitting and vice versa, because it's like, hey, I can't work X amount of hours every single day because I'm exhausted. I want to do something else. And so I don't think that it's being lazy. I think it's just creating.
I think the promotion of self and self-care is, I think, a big proponent in this movement.
Yeah.
Again, and self-care not just being, I mean, it could be for you, not just being like spending $500 on face masks and whatnot. That's a different thing. But like the idea of taking time for yourself. So you're not waking up and then, I don't know, if you have kids, dealing with the kids, getting them to school, going to work, your boss, your coworkers, you're appeasing everyone. You come home, oh, the kids have to do the sports, blah, 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 go to school. Like, I don't have kids. I don't know what kids are like.
And then, you're at sports and your boss is blowing up your phone, so you can't even enjoy the time. Like, I want to watch my kid play soccer, but I can't because my boss needs this report or whatever that they don't actually need, but they need it now.
Yeah. No, I agree. I'm a really big fan of this concept. Just because I do think people need more time to do things that make them happy and care for themselves.
Yeah, definitely.
From a health standpoint, I 100%. Would argue that this is, stress. So we know that stress is a big proponent in health issues.
Yeah, definitely.
A lot of like heart disease and whatnot comes from a high stress, high inflammatory life. Like,
exactly.
And that comes from being so stressed at work all the time, carrying it home, continuing your stress at home, continuing money, finance, relationships, yada, yada, yada. Yeah. Stress at home. When you're in that high of a state, you're not really worried about what you're eating, right? Yeah, so you're not taking the time to cook good food and to relax and eat in a calm way, right? You
rush everything and you're cooking fast.
You're cooking fast and
you're not for nutrition.
And there is so much like your body prepares to eat when you like prepare your meal slowly and don't be like turtle speed, like, but like actually paying attention to like what you're doing rather than like having the TV back on or stressing about this or like on the phone while you're doing this. Yeah. In weight loss and just diet and whatnot in general is mindful eating. Yeah. Right. And I think this kind of ties into it because people are now resorting back to this kind of way that we've lost because of the pressure of our current system. And the only reason that we have like the 5-day work week is from Industrial Revolution. Yeah. Right. And even that, it used to be 6 days, 6 or 7. Really? Once upon a time. Oh my gosh. You've been pushed back down to 5. And so now 5 has been the standard for so long. But now we're like, no, there's no need for that.
It's like, not healthy.
My health is suffering. My happiness is suffering. My motivation is suffering. I've got no care.
Relationships are suffering. Yeah. Like,
so this isn't working for us anymore.
Yeah.
But we need to still pay. So like, how can we make work-life balance be a balance, right? And,
exactly.
And so a lot of that comes with the whole 4-day work week push. And this is, I think, going to be promoted by the whole quiet quitting phenomenon, which
definitely.
is
because even with our job, like the 5 days a week of 8.5 to 10 hours was exhausting. And so then is exhausting.
Yeah.
And not getting our days off together. It's one thing where you're working 5 days a week and then you have Saturday, Sunday to be off. But if you're working 5 days a week and then you have 1 day off, everything kind of falls apart. Like, I know for me, when I was working that, I wouldn't have time to do laundry. I wouldn't have time to do the things that I liked. I wouldn't have time to vacuum. So my space outside of work was cluttered and dirty and not restful.
Which mentally takes a toll.
Yeah, I wasn't good. And so then I would like stress out about all the cleaning I needed to do, but I didn't want to do it at the end of the day because I just wanted to relax because I had cleaned and worked and done all that during the day and I needed that as a break.
The biggest thing for me was when I worked as a cook. The last thing I wanted to do was cook for myself.
Yeah.
So I lived off of fast food.
Yeah.
Part of the reason why my health went to shit.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, no, yeah.
Not to say everyone is the same way, but I had such a hard time finding that balance and then working out and then doing school and then doing this.
Well, even like working 8:30 to 5:30 and then going to a 6:30 workout. And so getting home at 7:30 and being like, I have to cook supper. So we don't eat until 9. But if I bake the next day, I need to go to bed now.
No.
So that I can get the recommended 8 hours of sleep. And
so I'm like, you like keep your sanity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whilst losing it. But yeah, so the 4-day work week has just been so much nicer because then you at least have that extra day.
1 day for recovery, 1 day for fun, 1 day for productivity.
Yeah. And it is so necessary. Yeah.
No, I think it's a huge thing on that, right? And I think COVID
definitely
emphasized this because everyone was forced to stop.
Yeah.
And even though everything was chaotic, they're all like, oh, this is pretty sweet.
Yeah, this doesn't need to get done in this time limit. Oh, that meeting could be an email. I
don't need to be in traffic for an hour in a suit.
And I think that also played a role with like eating, like how you're talking. You don't have an hour commute, hour and a half, 2 hours on either side. So when you're leaving your 9 to 5 job at 5 and you're sitting in rush hour traffic for 2 hours and getting home at 7, you're more likely to cook a meal than you would to just be like, okay, well, I'll order fast food and it'll get home the same time I do.
Yeah. No, where I think like a certain amount of like office, like some people prefer going into the office, right? My dad was one of them. He preferred going into the office and still does to work, and he likes having that separate work space and
the
whatnot.
Physical separation.
Well, because mentally it actually does too, right?
Yeah,
so
definitely.
if you're going to work from home, psychologically you need to break up the space, right? And that's why the whole idea of having an office in your home. Most people don't use it anymore, but like
it's
if you
nice.
are someone who has a job or you are required to do a lot of computer work, having it in an office designated region in your home psychologically improves your productivity in that space and being able to shut that space off when you're in the living room or the kitchen. Or
even just like not, because I remember reading an article a couple of years ago when I was in school about how you shouldn't be doing work while on your bed. Because your bed's
a rest place.
Yes. And it no longer becomes a rest place if you're constantly working on it.
Yeah.
And so I feel 100%. Like that, again, plays a role. Where my computer, where I do all my editing, is also my nightstand. Because it's right beside my bed. So I find it hard to be like, okay, like I'm going to get out of bed and move to the chair directly beside my bed and spend all day there and then get up and go back to bed.
Yeah. No, exactly.
But
then there's also, I mean... in regards to the 4-day work week, a lot of people are hesitant because it's like, oh, well, then what are you doing in those days off? And I'm like, well, you're doing things that make you happy.
You don't need to be working.
Like you're bringing pleasure to yourself. You have more time to spend with your kids. And that's where like the hustle culture is toxic in a way because you don't have to be on all the time.
No, you
can
really
off.
don't. You're allowed to be off, yeah.
Again, you also psychologically, your productivity is actually higher when you are not stressed.
Yep.
Multitasking is not productive. Like, your brain's incapable of multitasking. So if you're on like work all the time and cooking, you can't do both.
No, and that was something that I really struggled with when I first started at the coffee shop, was because I went in with that mindset of like, humans cannot multitask. That is a fact. Mm-hmm. And so then
you can pretend that you can, but things always get like,
things get missed, things don't get done, like mistakes happen, accidents happen. Mm-hmm. And you see that a lot at the coffee shop because we're trying to juggle so many things that it's like physically impossible to do. Mm-hmm. And so then trying to train a new person who struggles to
multitask.
Yeah, I don't know where I was going with that.
Yeah.
But like, it's difficult for them. They're so overwhelmed by information. That's where I was kind of trying to get at.
Well, yeah, because there's like 12 alarms going off, and the steamer's like, going, and the grinder's on, and then you're trying to take an order from someone, and then
and they're like, I need you to cook this sandwich, and they're like, okay, but also I need you to do this, 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 and this.
Yeah.
And they're like, at the same time.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah.
Well, and that's a big thing I think, like, I've noticed in the service industry especially, is everyone is finally like fed up with it.
Yeah.
When I started working in restaurants, that was in 2013, I guess. Maybe early 2014. And it was like high demand. Everyone wanted to be there. It was impossible, like, to get a hosting job or whatnot. And so, and I originally wanted to be front of house, but it was impossible to find them. It was such a high demand. Everyone wanted this job.
Really?
Everyone. And so I started to cook. I'm like, well, fuck it. Yeah. I can cook. But even cooks were sparse. And so you had to work harder as a cook. Mm-hmm. The tips made it worth it because the servers have to pay the kitchen.
Right, yeah.
Right? But it was less stress, and I didn't have to look good, and I didn't have to wear heels. That was also another thing. It's like big changes. When I finally got my first like hosting job, or one of my first hosting jobs, they required girls to wear like heels, at least 1 inch heel, which is like mind-boggling.
Like, they're not comfortable. They're not good for your feet.
And you're
your
carrying
back,
trays of drinks
like,
to and from. If you slip in the kitchen, you slip in the kitchen.
Yeah, they might make your butt look good, but like, they're not nice. And if your butt looking that much better, it makes a difference between your tips. That's not a you issue. That's a society issue.
I know. But no, so it's wild to see like that high demand to like be a server in this industry, and or a host, or even as a cook. Like, it is fully shifted now to the point where I'm seeing a lot of places that were in high demand and are good places. Mm-hmm. Not always the best places to work. Good places to eat at.
Yeah.
Struggling. Mm-hmm. Like job postings every week, every second
because
week.
No one wants to
tolerate it.
Yeah, exactly.
No one wants to tolerate it anymore.
You don't want to put up with that degradation.
Yeah, you're working like twice as hard for half the pay you could be doing a answering emails for a company at working out from home.
Exactly.
Like, why?
And you have to deal with people who don't respect your job.
Yeah.
Like,
that's a whole other ramble.
That's a whole other.
Like, I understand where that concept comes from, but it doesn't make it any less of a job.
Exactly.
You know?
You'd be mad if there was no servers, then you'd have to get it yourself. So, like, treat your servers with respect because they're doing a job for you. That's like people getting mad at, like, grocery store clerks during COVID. Mm-hmm. It's like, yo, if they weren't out here, like, you'd be screwed.
Yeah.
So why are you mad?
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah. And it's the whole concept, too. Everyone talks about, like, oh, yeah, everyone's first job should be in customer service.
100%.
Which is just to be a good human.
Just like.
Be a good human.
Yeah, because it's something you don't understand if you've never worked in customer service. Mm-hmm. Like, you can't, like, I don't know, I'm really struggling because sometimes I'm having a really hard time putting on that persona of, like, a nice person who cares when I'm talking to a customer. Because I'm like, I don't care, and you don't care. Like, sorry, I don't want to be here.
I think my face kind of says it all.
I know, and that's kind of why I'm, like, concerned. I'm like, I need to get better at, like, pretending to like my job a little bit better. So that at least customers think that it doesn't suck.
Because we got a complaint that someone looked sad, and Journey's like, yeah, that was me.
So, I read that complaint. They said everyone looked upset and they didn't want to be there. And the person on till acted annoyed that they had to take her order. And I was like, oh, so it wasn't just one person. It was everyone. Why didn't we have a meeting? Why didn't our boss discuss that? Why wasn't this like a, hey, why were you guys so sad? Like, what was up? Like, what can I do to make this better for you?
Yeah. Because it's not the care. It's not what's making money. Which,
But
again,
it
this is
is,
why
though.
I think shitty employers are what have kind of driven this. It's like, no, you're not allowed to do that anymore. This is now a worker's market in a way rather than a employer's market.
Definitely.
Because everyone can say, no, screw you, I'm going to do this something else.
Yeah.
Oh, no, this like company like in California will pay me X number of dollars an hour to like answer their emails.
Exactly.
I'm going to do that.
You can make your own job now.
Yeah.
Like,
Which is so beautiful. I love
know, it's so
diversity.
amazing.
Give us some diversity, please.
Anyway.
And every job has their things, right? You think about people who are working in like the rigs, for example.
Yeah.
They work hard.
They do, and their job sucks.
But I think that they do it because the compensation is worth it.
Yeah.
And that's the difference.
Even with Gavin, he was like, I don't want to because I don't like the job, but the money was so good. Mm-hmm. And so he was like really conflicted, and it's like, yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
I don't know. It would be one thing if like, even just like a thank you. You're doing a good job. Like,
Compensation doesn't need to it doesn't need to be financial.
Monetary. Like,
I mean,
it sure helps.
give me that bread. Let's get this bread.
Let's get this bread. Heck, we have a podcast named after bread.
Sometimes Ciabatta slaps.
Yeah, big bread girls.
And that's where I find like it kind of goes back to, I think a lot of the push in this is history of shitty employment and shitty employers.
Definitely.
Like, why do we need to tolerate climbing the corporate ladder? There's no need. I'm going to start my own ladder. I'm going to build my own staircase over here.
Exactly.
I'm going to build an escalator. I'm going to make it a lot easier for myself than climbing some bomb-ass ladder.
Exactly.
Like,
well, yeah, and I feel like that just wasn't available. And now we have the resources. We have the internet. We have TikTok and YouTube and like ways to create content, to create our own jobs, and to be the work from home personal assistants kind of things. I've seen a lot of ads on TikTok for that. And especially self-care. Yeah. That wasn't a concept. That wasn't allowed. That wasn't something that people valued in the 50s.
You go to school, you go to university,
you get a job.
You get married, you get a job.
You buy a house.
You have 4 kids.
End of story.
Yeah.
And now it's like, okay, like I go to school. Boom, $120,000 in debt. Okay, great. Now I can't get a job with a degree because everyone has a degree.
So now I have to get a master's. Boom, another $100,000 in debt.
Literally more. Now you're 30, starting your life, and you're like, I can't afford rent.
Because but then as a female, we're like, oh yeah, we gotta start having kids now. I'd have until 35.
Well, exactly. You got like 5 years. You gotta find a husband and start pumping those suckers out.
Otherwise, boom, you gotta pay $50,000 for
IVF or any other like adoption. Like, it's ridiculous. And that was one of the reasons that I didn't choose to go for higher education, because it wasn't worth it to me in the long run. To be starting my life at 27, which really isn't that old. But like,
yeah,
to be just finishing school and to look for a job, especially when the field that I'm specializing in is so specialized where there's no jobs in it. So it's not worth it for me to spend that extra money to get that education that will get me a job, but there's no jobs.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. It just doesn't, it's silly.
It is silly. And then,
like, it's frustrating. It's very annoying.
But then there's so much pressure to do all these, like, great things.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And you're like, I'm trying.
Well, even, like, you're like, okay, you work this shit job, but you're trying on the side to start another job. You have to be working that job and then coming home and then devoting all of those hours to start this other job so that you can eventually leave this crappy job in the hopes that this other job will take off and be better if you want to start and, like, go the entrepreneurial route. Which is difficult.
Very difficult.
Yeah.
I'm dipped my foot in the waters a little bit there. Just because I'm tired of grinding myself down to the bone to pay for someone else's bills.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I can't add anything to that. It's so, especially when they're not grateful for it.
Oh, and the worst part, so during COVID, I was working in a retirement home. And at the time, we were considered frontline workers because it was a retirement home.
Yes.
They need to eat. They don't eat if I'm not there to serve them food.
Yeah.
Right? They don't eat if the cooks aren't there to cook them food.
Right.
But because it was technically a restaurant and whatnot, my manager found some kind of loophole to not pay us for being frontline workers.
You didn't get, like, danger pay or whatever it was. Wow.
And not that I was, like, concerned, but I'm like, everywhere else around us that are doing the same job had got an upgrade. And he just said, like, one of my coworkers went and spoke to him.
Yeah.
And was like, what the heck?
Yeah.
And he said, you're lucky you have a job. Any other industry, I would have walked out right then and there.
Yeah.
Because I was serving these old people I had grown attached to.
Yeah.
I was friends with. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to stick around only for them.
Yeah. And especially another element of it is where, like, old people are more susceptible to die from COVID. So you're like, there's that extra element of, like, if I get sick, I could kill my
200
customers.
people.
Yeah, that's scary. I would like to be compensated. Like,
if you're not gonna pay me to go from work to home,
yeah,
like, it's in your best interest.
Yeah, definitely. You want me to look after the people who are paying your bills.
Because hypothetically, I have no need to.
Yeah,
I could have gone out. I could have partied. I could have done this, that, or the other. And there kind of came to a point where it wasn't rising. So I go to the gym and I hung out with my coworkers all the time. We're like, we're the only ones here. If we all get sick, we're all fucked.
Well, exactly. And it feels like you see your coworkers every day. So it's like, okay, is this really going to change anything if we meet outside of work?
No.
Yeah.
No, it didn't. And so thankfully it didn't. Thankfully it was ever. But it was the whole comment of, you're lucky you even have a job.
Yeah.
That was infuriating.
Yeah.
I'm like, what do you mean you're lucky? Are you going to fire us all?
Yeah,
fire
go for
the entire kitchen staff? Hire on new staff in
that
the middle of the pandemic?
Way more than it screws me.
Okay, John. Like,
yeah, no kidding.
I don't know so much about other industries, but they are desperate for people. They're not going to show that face though. And so that's the thing. Like, you can make waves. Like, you can be outspoken in this thing. You're not going to be fired for standing your ground.
Definitely not. And that's something that's really difficult for people like me to understand. Especially because I've never been one to stand up for what I believe in. So it's like, okay, I'm tired of letting you walk all over me and I don't like this. And so now I'm like, I have the security of being like, hey, dude, no. And so I need to start using that for me.
Well, the only reason I got my pay raise in the first place was because I was like, yeah, that's enough.
Yeah, this is done. And, like, I have no issue standing up for everyone else. But it's when it comes to me, I'm like, well, I don't need it. I don't want it that much, actually. But I really do.
Yeah. I like respect. If I feel disrespected, I make a mess. I cause a scene.
Which, good for you.
Is it?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. We'll touch on this a little bit more when it comes to like emotional maturity and stuff and reactiveness and whatnot. Yeah. But I think someone has to. I'm exhausted. Yeah. And I've never been like the sit pretty and quiet, zip your lips, and never been the type.
And that's kind of how I was raised. Was like, don't make a fuss. Just take it.
Yeah, no. That's how I was technically raised too, but I didn't take it very well. I didn't listen to those standards.
How can we be raised the same and have the same personality and yet be so different?
I oftentimes got told I was going to be sent to etiquette school.
I would have loved that.
I said, no way. Or private school. And I'm like, you send me to a private school and I will ruin your name.
Nice.
That was my excuse.
And I'm over here like, I really wanted, because I know that princesses had to go to school to like learn how to carry books on their head so their posture was so good. And I tried so hard to be I can't do it, but my posture's terrible, but that's what I really wanted to do.
I think I just did that in my living room for fun.
Yeah. Except my flat spot's on the back of my head, not on the top of my head, so no such luck.
Guess we're gonna just like grind down your skull a bit then, hey?
Journey's just over here with a file.
I gotta carry books. I need to have good posture.
I need to be proper.
Little circle skirt.
Literally. I'd love to wear. They're so hard to sit in.
Yeah, no
because
shit.
they like sit in and they just go
frame covering your butt.
Like, yeah, or it could just go like straight up and you're like, hello.
Ooh, woo. No, but there is something I get everyone again, and there are so many people who are just kind of like shut up and take it and whatnot. Yeah. So they get into the industry and they kind of follow on these trends and because it's easy.
It is.
And I get it makes things easy. Like when you just like, oh yeah, I work my 9 to 5, I commute home, I I watch a couple hours TV, I go to sleep. But why make life easy when it can be fun?
Exactly. If and it's just that one moment of uncomfortability, discomfort, that can make your life more fun and easier in the long run. So that's worth it. Yeah.
I don't know. There's
opinion.
No need to grind yourself to the bone and make your career your entire existence.
No.
You can have hobbies, you can have friends, you can have, I don't know, again, watching, like you said, like watching your kids one day. Yeah. To have the time to shut off your phone and watch and be present.
It's so important.
Also solves generational trauma.
Exactly.
In a way, when you have time to be present and active and happy, so you're not like, I'm stressed, I'm pissed off, like
exactly. And that really affects your children where they become, or they like develop that insecure attachment or whatever. So they're like trying to do things to get your attention because you're not giving it, or they're not doing things to get your attention, and it just like it's this weird mind game that I'm sure we'll talk about in another episode.
And to call like our generation out, that's one thing where we're really bad with is that balance now, right? Because phones, there's so much opportunity work-wise, right? You can talk whatever you want, you can post whatever you want, and you can have monetary success from it. Yeah. But it's on that same regard, if you are constantly holding your phone or on your phone as you're raising your kids, if you tell your kids to shut up by passing them the phone or handing them off to the TV, that is an issue, right? So there is that then balance as well. Definitely. But that's, again, a whole other separate issue. Like we said, that's not in regards to quiet quitting. But it's exhausting, the whole quiet quitting. And then another term you mentioned earlier that maybe not while we were recording, but before, quiet firing. What's that? Or silent firing or whatever that.
Soft firing?
Soft firing.
And so that's basically where you work for 5 years with no pay raise, but your workload stays the same. So it's kind of like where we had a coworker who was like, hey, like I would really like more hours. And our boss was like, yeah, for sure. Like as soon as you improve. And then she put in the work and she improved exponentially. It was so amazing. And she was, and then both Michaela and I were like, hey, like she's really improved. And he was like, okay. And we are like, hey, maybe can she have more hours? And he's like, no. And so then he was like, okay, I'm going to train you to do this. And so he trained her to do that, but then he never had her work that again. Or he never trained her to do this because he didn't like her or want her to stay. So he was kind of soft firing her by never giving her incentive to stay. So she didn't have to quiet quit because there was never any expectation of her to go above and beyond. that felt like that was harsh.
No, but it is though. It was the easy way out.
100%. And that's like how it can be. Like, you know that this person is worth more than what you're paying them. So you're just going to take advantage of the fact that you're paying them little and they're not going to leave. So they have to, like, it's kind of, quiet quitting can be thought of a response to soft firing or whatever. I'll see if I have a more concrete definition.
And this is why I think I'm such a huge fan of making waves, because that is a load of crap.
Definitely.
And why can't we just tell them, like, no, that's not happening today? Like, why has it been so widely accepted that you're like, yeah, okay, sure, we'll do it, yeah.
Yeah, I'll add that to my list of things to do, and I won't leave here till 6:30 for sure, yeah.
Like, you shouldn't have to make waves in a job, right? Hypothetically.
No.
It should be, like, respect should be expected, both fronts, right?
Oh,
if your boss tells you to, like, oh, can you bring this out? And you're like, no way.
Yeah.
Like, that's your job title. Yeah, do your job title.
Exactly.
But it's when you're asking or you're pressuring high demands outside of your job title to the point where you're like, hey, no, I'm burnt out, I'm not having a good time. And it's like, well, suck it up, princess.
Yep.
It's like, this makes me aggressive. I am very frustrated.
Yeah. In June, I was so burnt out and so done because I'd been going above and beyond and really busting my ass. And there was absolutely nothing to show for it. And so then I booked like 4 days off to go visit a friend. And he gave me 3. And I was like, are you kidding me? Because the week before, Michaela asked for 5 days off, and he gave her 7.
3 and 5, I think.
Yeah, it was something stupid. I was like, so you took away one of my days, and you gave her 2 extra? Like, how does that make sense?
This comes from making waves, though.
I need to get better at it. But it's like, it's kind of the way I was raised. You just listen to your boss, whether they treat you with respect or not. And like, obviously, if your boss treats you with respect, you're more willing to go above and beyond because you know they appreciate it. You know they're going to be grateful for it. You know they're going to not necessarily like reward you for it, but like put in an incentive for you to keep doing that. We get complimented on how well run the coffee shop is. Almost every customer comes in and is like, you guys work so well together. Everything is so nice. Like,
yeah, Journey and I, it was like us 2 working together one day.
Yeah, I was scrubbing walls and you were scrubbing pans.
Yeah, and one lady was like, it's just so nice to see you guys enjoying your time together.
But we were just like having a good time. But doing shitty jobs.
Yeah.
Because I was literally scrubbing the walls.
I was making pans sparkle.
And I was like really trying to do it close to you so that I could talk to you. I was like, this wall is so clean now.
It was true. And then just things like, and that's quality too, right? Like over quantity.
Yeah.
And again, big fan of the 4-day work week. We know this already. Because it gives you more time to rest and digest and recuperate. And
yeah, so you come back to your job refreshed
and excited and inspired. Yeah. Right? When you're not like down to the bone. Like,
when the regular comes in and was like, so, like, what did you do for your weekend? And you're like, yeah, I was here. I was here. And they're like, oh, nice. And you're like,
what did you do on your days off? Anything fun? No. Slept.
I slept. I don't have the energy to do anything fun.
Grocery shopping.
Yeah. I did all of my chores.
Yeah.
Which
that I neglected for the past week.
Exactly. But I didn't even get all of them done because there's only 24 hours in a day.
Yeah.
And yeah.
That's what I've been struggling with the most. Because it's not only like, technically I do have hours in a day, but I don't have hours to sleep 8 hours a night, have 3 solid meals for the day that are homemade and fresh and whatnot.
Nutritious and good.
Work out, stretch, study, work a full-time job, podcast now.
Yep.
My plate is full.
But hey, are you really living if your plate isn't absolutely overflowing?
No, I'm drowning. Like, roll me out of here. I can't move.
Oh.
I am stuffed and I'm pissed off.
Yeah. Oh no. I'm stuffed and I'm pissed off.
That sounds so bad.
Oh my gosh, I love that. Oh my goodness.
My gosh.
Okay.
I think we kind of said what we had to say. Like,
yeah, I
personal.
feel like we've ranted.
Our segment is going to be Jubes reading Reddit stories of people's
like quiet quitting
experiences.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about it a little bit. So that's what we're moving on to now.
Because, I discovered Reddit.
Jubes is a big Reddit girl now.
Do you want to know how I discovered Reddit?
The internet?
No. Thank
How's that
you.
for a dad joke?
So good. Thank you, Father Michaela.
Daddy Mac.
Daddy. Oh my goodness. Bryce was so excited the other day. He's like, are you going to send a picture of the food that I got to Michaela? And I was like, no. Why? And he's like, well, because it's called the Mac Daddy Poutine. And I was like, okay.
Yep.
I will do that.
To quote the Black Eyed Peas. Yeah, it's got to be the apple on the Mac Daddy, y'all.
I'm the Mac Daddy, y'all.
Haters better step back. I'm the party application, rocking just like that.
One day, we were working, and Michaela and Gavin spoken worded like that song. They were just like making sandwiches. They're like, I'm the Mac Daddy, y'all. And I was like,
boom, boom,
what
boom.
are you guys saying? Like, I'm
gotta get that boom, boom, boom.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so
comment if you want me to do a spoken word poem of a Black Eyed Peas song.
We have a segment where Michaela just it's like, what's that poetry? Spoken word poetry or whatever?
That's what it is.
Oh.
That's right.
LOL. I'm getting there.
That's the reference for spoken word.
So moving on.
Fun fact, I used to go to spoken word poetry every Friday night with some friends in high school, and we'd get a cheese platter and drink wine and watch spoken word poetry.
That sounds kind of fun. I'm way too judgmental and of a person because I just sit there and roast them because I feel uncomfortable and jealous that I couldn't do spoken word.
I can't. The place I went to is shut down, but I gotta find another place, and I'm gonna bring you. It's a really fun experience. Okay. My friend would like speak and stuff, and we were all in AP English, like the little geeks we were. Except I was like the dumb one, so I never.
That's weird. I do not think of you as a dumb person.
But I'm like the fun and dumb one, I'm not like this.
You win some, you lose some.
I'm very fun, but I brought a lot of laughs because a lot of the jokes was just me saying something stupid and it beat a punchline. Again, shall we reference me being called dense?
They don't know that story, do they?
Yeah, they do.
Did you tell that?
Yeah, episode 1 or 2.
Okay,
yeah.
Good.
Episode 1 or 2 mentions it, yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know. Anyways, it was fun.
So this one's kind of long. It feels like a lot of reading, but it's in r/malicious compliance, so it felt kind of fun. So they're like, this is my friend's story. He works in data management for an infrastructure company, one that has major government contracts for maintenance and replacement. When we worked together, we had a friendly competition with our numbers each day, seeing which one of us could beat the other in actions closed, which is basic data capture stuff, but the high volume boring crap. Due to our competitiveness, the department's numbers were stellar, and so their boss did less and less, who was already in their 60s, 7 to 8 years ago, and quite literally awaiting retirement. So he left the company, and their friend continues doing gangbuster numbers, carrying the team as well as training new employees. Due to his character and work ethic, he gets asked to assist with project management, specifically the implementation of a new app solution that would allow for 40% reduction in existing staff. And so he's working on this for 2 years, leading meetings and advising project management decision makers, all while making $26,000 a year, or euros. That's the euro sign, right?
Uncultured.
My uncultured Sagittarius ass.
Pounds.
That's pounds? LOL. Okay. I'm the smart one.
And I'm the dumb one. She's the bookworm, I'm the idiot.
I'm actually so stupid. Okay. All while making 26,000 pounds and still doing his manager's job. It eventually reaches the point where the manager is taking him into meetings so he can answer questions the manager should know the answers to. What's very important to this tale is my friend's character. He is genuinely one of the most helpful, friendly, and positive dudes you're likely to meet. Always happy to help, but also not inclined to rock the boat if he considers the situation unfair. So the perfect employee to take advantage of. Present company not included. So of course COVID happens, and after returning to the office, he is told there is no budget for a pay raise above 1.7%. He points out to the department head, so the boss's boss, how he's been project managing, doing his manager's work, all while keeping the department numbers looking tasty. Department head acknowledges this, but says his hands are tied. They just don't have the budget. My friend says, okay, I'll just stop then and only do my specific job. Before he does this, and a few days after the above conversation, department head mentions a bonus fund that may be available for those that have gone above and beyond, and that he is on course to receive something. He receives £200. And this pissed him off, considering he's been
not
doing...
Not 200 pounds.
£200. Not 200,000. £200.
The fit.
I'd be livid.
I would be, that'd be so tempting to like break stuff.
Yeah. Right?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's how I get to self-destruction. Someone sign me up for kickboxing ASAP before I smash faces
We need to go to a rage room.
Oh, I would be so pissed.
Yeah. So obviously this pissed him off, considering he's been doing project manager job and manager's job for close to 3 years for less than less than half of his manager's salary and a third of a project manager's salary. So he stops. He stopped everything but his own responsibilities. He stopped assisting the project manager team, stopped answering manager level questions in meetings, and stopped training new staff. The manager then starts in with the passive aggressive, your attitude has really changed recently and you need to assist the team, etc. So he tells,
what's with her today? What's up with her?
Yeah, what's her problem?
I got that today.
He tells manager and department head that they don't have the budget, but he's happy with his responsibilities as outlined in his contract. Unfortunately, he's still there in the same job, but useless managers had to struggle through, making a fool of themselves in various meetings, and department head now gives him the stink eye a few times a week. Hopefully I can help him find a better company very soon.
Brutal.
And so it's just like, the comments are just like, there's nothing more satisfying than to see management freak out and look like incompetent fools. And
it's just true like, though, right?
Yeah.
Just because you're the boss doesn't mean you get to be incompetent.
Exactly.
I feel like the boss should hypothetically know more or have more to bring. Mm-hmm. And I want to, I have a couple books that I really want to read and want to talk about on the podcast and stuff about people management, psychology of people management and stuff. There's a lot of good things about like how leadership, and I think that's a really motivational
definitely.
Leadership and everything. I do want to bring more because I think that's what everyone is lacking, right? Anyone who should be like, arguably, as much as I'm like, everyone can do their own thing and build their own business, I think if you're going to employ someone, you should have a leadership certificate. Oh,
definitely. You need to know what motivates people to work, how to like effectively lead your company. There's another one that's just like leaving work on time and not communicating with coworkers outside working hours, defined as quiet quitting in press, demonstrates with scale of brainwash, and then it goes ... But this one has good comments where like corporations are getting desperate creating articles like this. It's called the work-life balance. Quitting the day on time and not communicating on work tasks after you've clocked off should be the norm. If you are expected to constantly have overtime and discuss work tasks after hour, that is your company not respecting a work-life balance. And then they mention top reasons people usually quit their jobs is because of bad managers, bad pay, and bad company culture not respecting employees' personal lives.
That ties into productivity because basically the perfect formula for productivity is mental energy take two is mental energy plus intrinsic motivation and extrinsic motivation.
Definitely.
Right? So if any of those are off, you're like the scales are wonky, you're not going to be productive, you're not going to feel inspired.
Yeah.
And so if you don't know, I mean, mental energy is basically, have you slept? Are you well fueled?
Yeah.
Have you done something that brings you joy?
Yeah.
Are your serotonin levels good? How's your dopamine?
Yeah.
That's all contributing to mental energy.
Right? 100%, yeah.
If you need 12 coffees in a day to breathe, your mental energy is low.
It's very low.
Sorry about it.
Yeah.
Intrinsic motivation is doing something because you want to do it, right? like
with this. I want to do this. I'm intrinsically motivated to do this. So when I spend my 3 days off working on this, it doesn't feel like a waste of time because my soul is happy because I'm doing something that sparks my creative energy. But, okay, anyway, before you lose your thought.
That's your No, it is. And then extrinsic is motivation from something else, right?
Yeah.
I'm motivated to go to work every day because I'm getting paid.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so if any of those are off, but I would also argue there is, when it comes to careers, you do need the balance of, I want to do this job and I'm going to stay at this place and do this job because I'm getting paid for it. I'm feeling compensated. Yeah. But again, you also need the mental energy to keep that cycle up.
Exactly.
So all of that is so necessary in order to keep that like work-life balance there.
Yeah, and so like this next comment is like, hustle for what? Hustle culture just means that my boss gets a little bonus and the owner makes another $1 million that year. I get nothing out of hustling or going above and beyond. Which again ties into how the world is right now. I can hustle all I want. I will never be able to afford a house of my own. Minimum wage, I wouldn't be able to live in this nice of a place if I wasn't so lucky to have someone who makes way more than me. Like, I wouldn't have the funds to start this podcast.
Well, I want to hustle in a way, because I like working hard.
Yeah.
But I like working hard for myself.
Yeah.
I don't, again, like I said, I don't like working hard to pay someone else's bills. That's why I use my resources wisely, which is why I'm not going to pay rent in a city I'm unsure about. If I can live for free, I'm living for free. I am budgeting.
Exactly.
I am thrifting. I am living that frugal life so that I can afford all the luxuries that I want to do. And if that means I have to have multiple sources of income, so be it. As long as I'm happy, I could care less.
Yeah.
And that's the phrase, working without passion is stress. Working with passion is,
I don't know the word you're looking for. I've never heard this phrase before.
No,
I've heard like the love what you do what you love. Work doesn't or your job's not a job if you love what you do or whatever.
I don't know. Yeah, long story short, if you like your work, it's a passion. If you don't, it's stress. And there's like, it's a phrase along those lines. And so I'm looking for passion. I'm hustling towards passion. Yeah. I'm a very passionate human being. I love it. Like I love loving and I love loving everything so fully. Yeah. To the point where like I will run off of cortisol and water for 4 days straight. Maybe like 2 hours of sleep. Yeah. If I'm so fixed on something.
Well, exactly. And last week I felt very successful and like proud of myself because I was up at 5 every day. I was going for a workout in the morning and then I was going to work and then I was working a full day and then I was coming home and I was spending my evening hours working on a podcast that I want to make huge. And it was like, this is awesome. It felt less awesome when I had to wake up after 4.5 hours of sleep to go work. But again, I had been waking up at that same time all week. And so it didn't feel...
The 4.5 hours sleep was also just because of us hanging out and making
we were doing like push-ups on the floor. I was like telling Bryce, I was like, we were just like doing push-ups. And I was like, I don't remember how we got there. But I was trying to do the worm at one point.
I have the video. If you guys want to see it, what's the goal? How many likes, comments, or whatever before I post the video of the worm? Of you doing the worm.
Oh, this is episode 3.
How many likes do you want before you push?
I don't know. It doesn't have to be that many. I'd like 100.
Okay, 100 likes. And on what? And I'll post the video of Journey doing the worm. She ate, plot twist or like spoiler alert, she looks like a fish.
It literally looks like I like got electrocuted.
Don't describe it too deeply. Oh, we want to see it.
It's really good. You'll love it.
It's really good. 100 likes, Journey. I'll post a video of Journey doing the worm.
Yeah.
That's fun.
That is fun. I feel like that's pretty much...
I feel like we wrapped it up. Like, our segment ended up just being another talking point, but...
Pretty much that's,
But that story really,
It really highlights how people are feeling. Mm-hmm. It's like, okay, I don't need to be doing this if you're not going to compensate for me and you're going to continue to take advantage of me.
Yeah.
Know your self-worth. Say no.
Mic drop. Key takeaways. Make waves.
Well, yeah.
Cause a scene. Cause a riot. Stir some shit up. Let's flip the world on its ass.
Stand up for yourself. Because a corporation can recover.
What's the harm? Yeah, literally. What's the harm?
Exactly. And it's a worker's market right now.
I'm going to say it. Mm-hmm. I've said it before. I'll say it again. I don't know if I've said it before on here. We'll see. Why should you be the least happy person in your life?
Yeah. Exactly. That's going to be our tagline pretty much for the rest of this podcast, because that's kind of what we're striving for. Like,
there's no need.
You have to live with yourself every single day, so why shouldn't you be happy?
Have more time to be human. Have more time to kind of go back to your roots and go back to life before the Industrial Revolution. Go back to your roots. Minus the plague and the lead and everything.
Well, not really minus the plague. We just got out of a 3-year pandemic.
We're still in it, technically.
Yeah. So, like...
But, I don't know. Fine, when you're less stressed and you're eating well and you're active and you're doing things for yourself, you're less likely to get sick.
It does.
Disease is literally dis-ease. So when you're at ease, you're good. Life's flowing. Life's good.
And so with that, thank you for joining us.
Yeah.
We hope you enjoyed us ranting about our lives.
Job. Let's rant about yours.
Yeah, tell us your times of you quiet quitting.
Has there been anything in your industry that's like you can highlight that is different?
If you work in an office setting or something different than the hospitality industry, like what can you tell us that we might not know?
Mm-hmm. How do you make waves in your day-to-day life?
Exactly.
We are sometimes Ciabatta Slaps on Instagram and TikTok.
And YouTube.
And our website as well.
Will be sometimes Ciabatta Slaps podcast. .ca, I thought.
We need to create it.
We haven't made
It'll be in the bio.
It'll click the link in the bio. It'll get you there.
I am Mak Joy.
And I'm its_Jubes.
And
we are sometimes Ciabatta Slaps.
Thank you for hanging out with us.
And ta-ta for now.
ttfn.
Bye.
Bye.